Good evening, my name is Dominic Farinacci. Please welcome to the stage the president of the Columbus Citizens Foundation, Mr. Angelo Vivolo.
Buonasera, benvenuti a tutti. Thank you so much for being here. All you proud Americans con sangue italiano. Thank you so much. I want to thank the mayor for having us do this here tonight. It is an incredible honor for me to be here and to represent the members of the Columbus Citizens Foundation. We are a group of Italian Americans who believe in giving back to our community. We sponsor scholarships, as I'm sure you all well know. We have 728 kids in our program. We put over $2.2 million a year. But most importantly, come this Monday, everyone's going to be Italian because we're going to have the greatest Italian parade coming up Fifth Avenue in the greatest city in the world. I'd like to thank Dominic Farinacci for being here tonight, providing the music. And it gives me great honor and pleasure to introduce the First Lady of the City of New York, Charlene McRae. Thank you so much.
Benvenuti e buonasera. Che fortuna essere circondata da così tante belle persone in un posto così bello. Yeah. Oh, how I love the Italian language. I know my accent isn't perfect, but I can't help it. It's like singing. So beautiful. I've traveled to Italy 5 times now. I think it's 5. And let me tell you, I'm always wanting to go back for more. The food, the wine, heavenly. The romantic walks, the people, and best of all, I love the time with my favorite traveling partners, Bill, Chiara, Dante. While it's impossible for me to pick my favorite place, I will never forget my visit to a villa in Florence for children with challenging mental health disorders. It was a lovely home setting, suffused with beauty and love, and good home-cooked food. They had a great chef. All the children had their own rooms, and they were connected to their families on weekends. And as much as possible, they would spend time with their families in therapeutic settings so the whole family could learn and benefit from the child's treatment. It was tremendously inspiring. And I tell you this because we need more places like that in our city. Safe, welcoming places where New Yorkers who need healing can connect to people who understand them and understand the kind of treatment they need. That's why I'm so passionate about Thrive NYC, the most comprehensive mental health plan of any city or state in our nation. You can cheer for that. It's a good thing. Listen, we're doing so much. We've set up a system to screen pregnant women and new mothers for maternal depression. By the end of this year, every one of our schools will have some kind of mental health services. Every school. You can cheer for that? Yeah, it's a good thing. We've deployed 120 mental health professionals to every borough, and people are alive today because we've made the life-saving drug naloxone easier to obtain. But we can't do this work alone. We need you to help us change the culture around mental health by changing the way you think about it. And you can do that by signing up for a free mental health first aid class or by asking your house of worship to host a class for the whole congregation. Now, you can sign up for this free class by going to nyc.gov, Thrive NYC, or if you have questions, you can go to Ayana over here. Can you see her hand waving in the air? Yeah, give her your contact information and we'll get to you. I know that if we work together on this, I am confident we will succeed because, listen, if there's one thing Italian Americans know, it's how to create and sustain a culture founded on the best of family values. Am I right? Yeah. All right. So again, welcome to Gracie, and it is now my pleasure to introduce the love of my life, a man whose passion for Italy is clearly contagious, our mayor, Bill de Blasio.
Thank you, John Salazzo. Buonasera. Ho trovato questa donna italiana, si chiama Shirlane. Shirlane is the most Italian non-Italian I have ever met in my life. Her love of the Italian language and culture, the fact that she would pretty much always rather be in Italy, she would pretty much rather always eat Italian food, and she named her children Chiara and Dante. That's as close to being Italian as you can get. I also want to say, I want to welcome everyone. Benvenuti. I want to welcome everyone to our house, La Casa del Popolo, the People's House, Gracie Mansion. And I want you to remember the first occupant as mayor of this house, he was a little self-conscious about it because he didn't think a public servant should have such a nice house. But he gave us an example of leadership we will never forget in this city. Fiorello Guardia was the first resident of this house. And that is a name that always makes me proud to be an Italian American. In the focus we have on our family, and I tell everyone that I come across, if you are lucky enough to be born Italian or Italian American, you are taught a beautiful focus on your family. You are taught to really be there for the people who are part of your family all the time. And so, for Shirlane and I, Chiara and Dante are the center of our lives. I want you to know that Dante has taken a great interest in the Italian language. With a name like Dante, you would expect that, right? And he studied Italian at Yale, where he's at college, and then this summer he went to the University of Siena to study Italian more. That's pretty good, right? Chiara loves everything Italian too. She hasn't taken up the language, but if you ever want to spend time with Chiara de Blasio, just offer eggplant parmigiana and she will be right there. And she and I share that view. Today, one last family point. Today I had a real joy. You may have seen that the groundbreaking occurred for the new museum at the Statue of Liberty. And the man who led that effort to create the museum, a guy named Steve Briganti, who is also one of the leaders in the restoration of Ellis Island, he is also my cousin because my grandmother's name was Anna Briganti, and he is my cousin, and he's done a great thing with Ellis Island Statue of Liberty. So, tutta nella famiglia. Now, we're going to celebrate tonight. We're going to celebrate Monday with the parade. I want you to know, and it refers to the point I made about Shirlane, everyone in this room knows it. If you're lucky enough to be Italian, you carry that with a certain pride. And then how many people do you know who wish they were Italian? Okay? They try to say the words like they're the real thing, and I admire that. Well, tonight we have a lot of contestants, because when the members of my administration heard we were celebrating Italian culture at Gracie Mansion, everyone was suddenly Italian. So I am going to introduce them, and I'm going to just do a running introduction, but they're all amazing public servants who serve the people of this city all the time. So I'll mix the Italians and non-Italians together, because tonight we're all Italian. Our Small Business Services Commissioner, Greg Bishop, our Commissioner for the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities, Victor Calisi, Community Affairs Commissioner, Marco Carrion, a Corrections Commissioner, Joe Pont, Environmental Protection Commissioner, Vinny Sapienza, TV star and Emergency Management Commissioner, Joe Esposito, not to make light of a very serious situation, obviously the hurricane is hitting the southeast very, very hard, but when you hear their officials talk, they just don't have the swagger of Joe Esposito, okay? The president of the School Construction Authority, Lorraine Grillo. Director for the City Legislative Affairs Office, John Paul Lupo. Director of our Federal Affairs Office, Andrea Zuniga. Chief of Staff to the First Lady, Roxanne John. Our Chief Digital Officer, Srinivasan. I gotta work on that one, Srinivasan. And an Italian, a proud Italian, who runs all these wonderful events and makes them all happen here at Gracie Mansion all over the city, our Director of Special Events, Carla Matero. The elected officials who are with us, I'm going to say the ones I know are here, others may join us. Assemblymember Phil Goldfeder, thank you. Councilmember Vinnie Gentili. Councilmember Jimmy Vaca. We have two leaders of the Democratic Party in this city. They both do wonderful work for their boroughs. The Staten Island Democratic Chair, John Galino. And from a little small hamlet called Brooklyn, the Kings County Democratic Chair, Frank Serio. And then we have, representing the Italian Republic, and I want to shout out this man. He's now the new Consul General in New York City. You got to get to know him. Wonderful, charming man. He said to me, this really moved me, before he came to New York to take up his post, he felt he had an obligation to go to my grandfather's hometown. My grandfather Giovanni from Sant'Agata dei Goti, provincia di Benevento. So Francesco Guinardi went to Sant'Agata first and then came to New York City. And then a great thank you to our good friends at the Columbus Citizens Association for all they do, those scholarships you heard about, all the great work they do. Let's thank Angelo Vivolo for all he does. And our Grand Marshal this Monday, quite a pride to be the Grand Marshal of the parade, Robert LaPenta, congratulations. Finally, if you want some great music, call in Italian, and that's what we did. We called Dominic Farinacci for the music tonight. Let's thank him and all the musicians. And I got one more. Newly promoted leader within the NYPD, the new chief of personnel for the NYPD, Diana Pizzuti. We thank you. Now, I'm going to be very quick, but I have to tell you, in this city, and I have to tell you, we New Yorkers, we don't necessarily realize how close we are to Italy in every way. But there are not many other cities in the United States of America where if you walk down any block, you're going to feel the presence of Italy. That's true in New York City. It may be a museum, it may be a pizzeria, it may be someone speaking Italian, it may be a name you see on a building or a store. But in this city, you feel very, very close to our homeland. And look around you and you get reminders all the time. Everything named after Fiorello LaGuardia, as I said, makes us so proud. Look at the new Whitney Museum, beautiful building, one of the great new jewels of New York City, and we thank Renzo Piano, the great architect who created that. So many wonderful things, but for all of us, when we think about this city, we think about our family and our journey and think about every single one of them and the very courageous choice they made to travel across the ocean, to establish a whole new life in a whole new world. For my grandfather, Giovanni de Blasio, for my grandmother, Anna Briganti, I've been to the very small towns they come from. The idea of 100 or more years ago coming from that town in the middle of this metropolis and trying to make a new life. Think of how brave they were. Think of how strong they were. And think of all that they gave to us. And think about how that made New York City a better place for everyone. Let's celebrate our ancestors. And that's why we keep a strong sense of connection. Wherever I go, I say to people, if you have not been back to the hometown that your family comes from, you have to do it. It will change your life for the better. And if you haven't brought your children there, you have to do it because it will give them pride. It will give them such a sense of hope and strength to see where they came from. That's what makes us strong. And we remember when Italy's in trouble, we remember to be there for Italy, the earthquake back in April. Such a shock to see so much devastation. But the people of America, and particularly New York City, Italian Americans and so many others stood up for the people of Italy in places like Amatrice and helped out. And we will always be there for Italy, won't we? My final point, and I know that Francesco and all the people at the Italian consulate will say this as well. Please keep this beautiful language alive. La lingua più bella del mondo. Okay? If anyone knows a lingua that is più bella, tell me, but I don't know it. Okay? But keep the language alive. Make sure our children get a chance to learn this beautiful language because it makes their lives so much richer. Allora, it's time for us to bestow an honor this evening. And this one is very special to Charlene and me because, you know, when you honor someone, you get an opportunity to say what they mean to you and to all of us. And I'm going to help you to understand why I'm so thrilled to have John Turturro here with us. It's not because John Turturro is a movie star. There are many movie stars. It's not just because he is a born and bred New Yorker who made it to the big time, and we're proud of him for that. It's because he is a true artist. That's what excites me. And I want to do a show of hands. We're going to do audience participation. I want the truth here. How many of you have seen a masterful work that John created a few years ago? His film, his love letter to Napoli, called Passione. How many people have seen Passione? Okay. You have a homework assignment. I don't care if you're Napolitan or what you are. If you want to see an extraordinary work of art, go and rent the movie Passione. Go on Netflix. Go wherever you have to go. Passione is one of the most beautiful things I've seen in many, many years. It's just one of so many things that John has done, created and acted in, and so much of what he's done makes us proud. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are very proud as New Yorkers that we contribute so much to the culture of this country and this world. Am I right? We are so proud as Italians and Italian Americans. There is no nation on this earth that has contributed more to global culture than Italy. Am I right? So when we have the chance to honor a true artist, an actor, a director, someone who has done so much, it's a special moment. So I am now going to call to the stage, or call forward, John Turturro. John, you have to hold it with me. John's going to follow direction from his director here. This is a beautiful formal proclamation of the city of New York that says a lot of things about John and all he's achieved, but here's the important part. At the very bottom here it says, and this is formal legal language binding on all the people of New York City, it says, I, Bill de Blasio, Mayor of New York City, do hereby proclaim Thursday, October 6, 2016, in the city of New York as John Turturro Day. All yours, man.
I'm sorry, Bill. I love you too much. And I say we love Bill. We love you.
Well, okay, now that it's my day, I have to be quiet. No. All right? It's hard for Italians to be quiet. No, I know. Anyway, I'm very humbled by that introduction, and I'm certainly very proud to be Italian American. I've always believed in, and I have been taught that to know who you are, you have to understand where you came from and what formed you. And to be an Italian American is to be so many things because we are a very complicated mixture of ingredients, especially if you're from from southern Italy. You could be Greek, Roman, Norman, Arabic, French, Spanish, Jew, Christian. And maybe that's one reason why we don't like to stand in a straight line. The melting pot that is America was something that already existed within so many of us who made the journey here. My parents and grandparents' work ethic and approach to life was instilled at a very early age. They wanted me to find a vocation, which in Latin means calling. To do something in life you're compelled to do, to make a contribution in the world, and to leave a little piece of you behind. I've had the privilege of being able to go to school and study and pursue what I've loved. And I've been given the opportunity to work in theater, film, and television and play a wide variety of roles and work with so many great directors, including Spike Lee, the Coen brothers, Peter Weir, Robert Redford, Nanni Moretti, Martin Scorsese, Steve Zalian. It was Scorsese who then introduced me to the great Italian director Francesco Rosi, who I collaborated on an adaptation of Primo Levi's book, La Tregua. I worked with Rosi for 5 years on that film, and in many ways, it changed my life. It deepened and enlarged my love of Italian literature and cinema, and it was through Italian cinema that I glimpsed the world my family came from. The films of De Sica, Rossellini, Fellini, Visconti, Germi, Antonioni opened my eyes. Now, Italy is a place that I've come to love and understand a lot better. To work there among friends is to feel like I am going home. And yet I'm from America, and it is a country and a place that I don't take for granted. We are a nation of immigrants, and in this mixture of cultures is what makes this country unique and strong. We are the great experiment. To assimilate, to become an American, is a long, circuitous journey. But at the same time, we shouldn't forget and erase the tremendous sacrifice our relatives made to get us here. I share your acknowledgement of my work with my parents, Nicholas and Catherine, who I wish were here with me tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you.
John Turturro, give him a round of applause. I want to conclude by just echoing something John said. And I felt it very strongly today, standing in front of the Statue of Liberty. And I said what the Statue of Liberty says to us, what Ellis Island says to us, is that we are a nation of immigrants, yes. But even today in America, we're still trying to understand that. We're still trying to accept that. We're still trying to embrace it. You see it every day on the news. And I think John hit a very powerful note. For all of us from southern Italy, we are made up of many people. By the way, the town that my grandfather has come from, I told you a moment ago, Sant'Agata dei Goti, Saint Agatha of the Goths. That means the Goths came through at some point, and many other cultures. And if you want to be a little fun about it, you would say all Italians, particularly southern Italians, are fritto misto. We're a little bit of everything. That's right. But we have to remind people, treat the immigrants of today with the same respect we wish our mothers and fathers and grandfathers and grandmothers were treated with. Greatest nation on the earth because we have been a nation of immigrants. We will continue to be the greatest nation on the earth because we will continue to be a nation of immigrants for all. Thank you. Buona festa a tutti. Grazie.